So the most effective leaders are certainly motivators, but motivation can be achieved in different ways. Say a team is working to streamline their communication system. A leader can motivate their team to reach this goal by using negative reinforcement, like threatening to have them work on the weekend if the system isn't in place by the end of the week, right? However, most people respond better to a leader who encourages the team through positive feedback. If you've praised for work, you're more likely to push a bit harder to get something done when needed. And as a member of a team, you can use praise in the same way to encourage your colleagues to keep moving forward. This encouragement can lead other team members to view you as a leader within that team. Effective leaders are also strong communicators. If you have an open, honest communication with your team, and you're consistent with how and when you communicate, then you'll find greater success. Part of having strong communication skills is being a good listener. You might have worked in a position where your voice was never heard. No matter how often or how hard you tried, this can of course lead to feeling of not being valued. So perhaps you've encountered a leader who welcomes ideas and feedback. Even if those ideas weren't always used and that feedback isn't always applied, just the act of listening demonstrates a willingness to look at all members of the team as equals. While a workplace thrives on a leader's encouragement, strong communication skills, and empathy, the best leaders are also open to innovation and risk-taking. They can foster that mindset within their teams or organizations. Innovators are not afraid to challenge the status quo. For example, say you and your team have always built project plans in documents. The system works fine, but you know that spreadsheets are a more efficient way to organize the team's plans. You can propose those changes whether or not you're a leader within your team. A good leader will want to hear about any ideas for improvement. If you're prepared to show how this change will have a positive impact for the entire team, then your innovation is more likely to be accepted. Another example of taking risks on an innovation is when leaders embrace the idea of remote work, right? While not all companies and businesses were well suited for this, those that have accepted remote work as something that could have a far-reaching benefits have, and for the most part, been rewarded. So leadership can be defined not only by the qualities and traits that the leader possesses, but also by the way they develop leadership skills in others. Being motivational and encouraging, being an open and honest communicator and an empathetic listener, a willingness to take risks, and an openness to innovation. These are just some of the qualities that the most effective leaders exhibit. You may have already been applying some of these qualities in your own job. They may even come naturally to you, but these qualities aren't necessarily qualities that leaders are born with. They're also skills that can be improved upon or acquired through practice. Just like any skill, your approach to leadership can be developed, right? You may not have thought about specific approaches before, but it goes hand in hand with the skills you obtain and the traits that you actually possess. So let's take a look at the 4 common successful approaches to leadership. Lead with confidence, lead by example, lead through collaboration, and leading by coaching. All successful leaders have the qualities and skills associated with these approaches, just in different amounts. You most likely do as well. As we explore each one, think about which approach best suits you. And at the same time, of course, be open to using each of these approaches as you lead, depending on the situation. So leaders who lead with confidence provide their team with feelings of security and stability. Leading with confidence means guiding your team through triumphs and challenges without wavering in your belief that the work you're doing will be successful. Confident leaders set high expectations while motivating their team members to meet those same expectations. They help their team see where they're going and take the time to explain how they'll actually get there. They're also confident enough to embrace the ideas of others along the way. So to be a confident leader, you can use words and actions in whatever role you have. So let's say you work for an online retail company that receives a surprisingly disappointing quarterly earnings report. Despite not being in a position of leadership, you still can exhibit your confidence in the situation by openly stating that you know the company will bounce back. You can also back up your words by proposing ideas for how to do so, even if it's not something that directly involves you. And if the company wants to create a small team to specifically address issues related to the situation, you can volunteer, even if it means stepping out of your comfort zone. When you lead by example, you still display confidence, but it's demonstrated largely through your actions. Leaders who lead by example also set high expectations. At the same time, they have high standards. They work hard and expect their team to work hard as well to reach their goals. You can lead by example in lots of different ways. For example, if you work in a school setting and you're implementing a new curriculum, you can start by building lessons based on that new curriculum. Or you can set an example by sending an email to fellow staff members with questions about how to use that curriculum. It doesn't necessarily mean you're challenging the curriculum itself, but rather, posing questions that will help to clarify it. And in this example, may even encourage other members of the staff to ask their own questions, leading to more productive discussions and greater involvement. Collaboration, working with others to reach a common goal, is something you may already have experience with. You might think that using this as an approach to leadership would be difficult. However, as a collaborative leader, you can generate the collaboration by openly sharing information with your team about anything that affects their work responsibilities. Then ask for opinions from the team before approving any final decisions. This approach helps to build trust and promotes cooperation. It also allows the team to embrace their own creativity and helps them develop their skills. A collaborative approach can work in most settings. Like in advertising, for example, a leader might launch a brainstorming session for a new campaign and then have one or more teams collaborate to come up with ideas. If you're a member of one of those teams, you can take the lead for your group by launching the brainstorming session with an idea for a campaign. As long as you avoid dominating the session, your leadership skills will be recognized and others on your team may follow that lead. So a leader who coaches sees the potential in people and work to draw it out. You give team members direction to help them tap into their abilities. With this approach, you take an active role in training your team to the point where they can complete their own tasks independently. So say you work for an insurance company and someone is hired to join your team. You can take on a role of coach by volunteering to show the new person the ropes in order to get them acclimated to the work environment. By acting as a coach, even without an official leadership title, you're practicing leadership skills while also showing management that you're willing and able to take on that kind of role.